Throughout music and entertainment history, legendary artists like Michael Jackson, Prince, Prodigy, Whitney Houston, Lisa, Left Eye, Lopes, Aaliyah, Pimp C, Marilyn Monroe and many others have risked their careers and reputations to speak out against industry exploitation, corruption, creative suppression, unfair contracts and the commodification of talent. Notably, each of these trailblazers all died under circumstances that sparked speculation, unanswered questions and conspiracy theories. Their outspoken warnings and the mysterious nature of their deaths have fueled ongoing debates about power, ownership and justice in the entertainment industry. Michael Jackson. Jackson was vocal about the exploitation of artists, particularly regarding ownership of master recordings. He fought Sony Music for years, eventually acquiring the rights to many valuable catalogues. The minute I started breaking the all-time record in record sales, I broke Elvis Presley's records, I broke the Beatles' records, the minute it became the all-time best-selling album in the history of the Guinness Book of World Records. Overnight, they called me a freak, they called me a homosexual, they called me a child molester. 2002, speech in London. Jackson accused the industry of systematically keeping black artists from owning their work and profiting from their creations. He argued that labels used unfair contracts to trap artists in exploitative deals. Jackson argued that when the industry couldn't control him financially, they used the media to attack his character and revive old allegations, particularly during key business moments like the 1993 and 2003 allegations. It wasn't a coincidence that every time I made a major business move, controversy followed. He believed Sony wanted to force him into debt, so he would be compelled to sell his stake in the Sony ATV catalogue. They want my catalogue and they will do whatever it takes to get it. Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009, at his Los Angeles home from acute propofol intoxication, administered by his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray. The coroner ruled the death a homicide, citing the combination of propofol and benzodiazepines in Jackson's system. Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in 2011 and served less than 2 years of a 4-year sentence. Jackson's family, including his sister LaToya and daughter Paris, have publicly stated they believe he was murdered for his valuable music catalogue because he was worth more to the industry dead than alive. Prince. Prince was one of the most outspoken and influential critics of the music industry's treatment of artists, dedicating much of his career, especially from the 1990s onward, to fighting for creative freedom, ownership rights, and fair compensation. Prince believed artists should own their master recordings and control how their music is used and distributed. He saw traditional record contracts as exploitative, comparing them to slavery. If you don't own your masters, your master owns you. 1996, Rolling Stone. In the early 1990s, Prince began a very public battle with Warner Brothers over ownership of his master tapes and the pace of his releases. Warner Brothers trademarked his name and controlled his output, which Prince saw as stripping him of his identity and rights. Prince famously wrote "slave" on his face during performances and public appearances, declaring, "If I can't do what I want to do, what am I? When you stop a man from dreaming, he becomes a slave. That's where I was. I don't own Prince's music." Record contracts are just like, I'm going to say the word slavery. I would tell any young artist, don't sign. After leaving Warner Brothers, Prince released music independently and signed one-off deals with various labels, showing artists they didn't have to be tied to one company. April 21st, 2016, Prince passed away from an accidental fentanyl overdose. Dr. Michael Schulenberg, Prince's physician, prescribed painkillers under another person's name to protect Prince's privacy. He later settled a civil charge for this violation, paying a $30,000 fine but denying liability. Authorities were unable to determine who provided the counterfeit fentanyl-laced pills. The source remains unknown, fueling speculation of foul play. Prince's death came shortly after he regained control of his music catalogue. The suddenness and nature of his passing, combined with his anti-industry stance, fueled conspiracy theories. Prodigy of Mobb Deep. Prodigy was outspoken about the music industry. In 2017, Prodigy stated that the music industry purposely pushes mumble rap over conscious artists, suggesting that executives favored less substantive music because it was easier to market and control. Music business hate me because the industry ain't make me. There's a lot of hidden hands in the industry, a lot of people pulling strings behind the scenes. He believed this was a deliberate effort to suppress thought-provoking content in favor of more commercially viable, less challenging music. Prodigy's death on June 20th, 2017, is surrounded by controversy. Prodigy was hospitalized in Las Vegas after a performance due to complications from sickle cell anemia, a disease he had battled since childhood. The Clark County coroner ruled his death as accidental choking, specifically on an egg, while he was being treated in the hospital. This was surprising to many fans and peers, as initial reports assumed his death was directly related to sickle cell complications. Prodigy was well known for rapping and speaking about the Illuminati and secret societies allegedly controlling the music industry. He referenced these themes in songs like Illuminati and was reportedly working on a musical about these theories at the time of his death. His outspoken criticism of industry power structures led some fans to speculate about foul play, though there is no evidence supporting this. Aaliyah? There were rumors that Aaliyah was in discussions to leave her record label before her death, seeking more control over her music and career decisions. For example, she reportedly wanted Loose Rap as the lead single from her final album, but the label overruled her in favor of We Need a Resolution. This friction highlighted her desire for greater say in her artistic direction. August 25, 2001. Aaliyah passed away in a plane crash in the Bahamas. On the day of the crash, Aaliyah reportedly expressed discomfort and concern when she saw the small Cessna 402B that was to take her and her entourage back to Miami. According to Kingsley Russell, a local who helped transport her group, Aaliyah was visibly worried about the plane's size and safety and repeatedly refused to board. Russell's account, detailed in the book Baby Girl, better known as Aaliyah, claims Aaliyah was given a sleeping pill, fell asleep in the back of the taxi, and was carried unconscious or semi-conscious onto the plane. After her death, Aaliyah's catalogue was locked in a protracted dispute between her estate and her uncle's label, Blackground Records, further underscoring the importance of artist control and the difficulties faced by artists and their families in maintaining independence over their work. Lisa Left-Eyed Lopes. Lopes was critical of her label, LaFace Records, for unfair contracts and financial exploitation. TLC famously filed for bankruptcy, despite massive success. This is how a group can sell 10 million records and be broke. Everyone. TLC, 1996, Grammy Awards. In the early 2000s, Lopes became a devoted follower of Dr. Sebi, the controversial Honduran herbalist who claimed to cure diseases with natural remedies and an alkaline diet. She credited his teachings with helping her heal physically and spiritually. In spring 2002, Lopes traveled to Dr. Sebi's Usha village in Honduras for a spiritual and health retreat. She practiced his naturopathy, led her friends on strict herbal diets, and documented her journey for a planned documentary. I'm an artist, and I have a right to create what I want to create, reflecting her embrace of holistic living and creative freedom. On April 25, 2002, Lopes passed away in a fatal car accident in Honduras. She was on a spiritual retreat and had documented feeling haunted by a spirit in her final days. The crash, her connection to Dr. Sebi and outspokenness against the music industry have led to ongoing speculation. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's meteoric rise in the 1980s was historic for a young black woman. However, she faced backlash from some in the black community and industry insiders who accused her of selling out or making white people music because of her pop crossover success. At the 1989 Soul Train Awards, she was booed by some in the audience, an incident that deeply affected her. There were claims her label, led by Clive Davis, discouraged her from doing interviews with black media and steered her toward pop radio and venues, aiming to maximize crossover appeal at the expense of her R&B roots. This strategy, while commercially successful, led to feelings of alienation in parts of the black community and personal conflict for Houston. Documentaries and biographical accounts have highlighted the psychological cost to Houston of being constructed with the express purpose of maximum crossover, suggesting she was pressured to conform to an image that did not fully reflect her authentic self. The documentary Whitney, Can I Be Me? Frames her as a victim of the industry's most base inclinations, forced to navigate the demands of race, gender, and commercialism. Houston clarified her fears and anxieties, expressing that Davis was controlling her mind and announcing she had cut ties with him. February 11, 2012, Houston was found face down in a bathtub filled with water. The autopsy found a plethora of small injuries, including abrasions and bruises, possibly from attempts to revive her or from being placed in the tub. The timing, on the eve of the Grammys, and her history of disputes with the industry have fueled rumours. 3 years later, Houston's daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, died in a similar manner, found face down in a bathtub with drugs in her system. Bobby Brown and others have called this too big a coincidence and pointed to the presence of Nick Gordon at both scenes, fueling further speculation of a pattern or foul play. Xxxtentacion, Jase Onfroy. Xxxtentacion spoke in interviews about how the music industry uses brainwashing techniques, referencing things like recording messages backwards, frequency channeling, and manipulating sound to influence listeners' minds. He warned fans to pay attention to the artist as a person, not just the art, because there's brainwashing that gets involved in the music industry, like recording things backwards and all these different things that people don't know. Frequency channelings and different things like that. He described music as frequency programming, emphasizing that artists and industry figures can use sound frequencies to affect listeners' mental states. Xxxtentacion built his career independently and was wary of major labels and industry bosses profiting from his work. He chose to remain as independent as possible, safeguarding his vision and not allowing outside interference. June 18, 2018, X was fatally shot during a robbery in Florida. Surveillance video, phone records, and footage of the suspects flashing stolen cash linked them to the crime. During the trial, defense attorneys attempted to subpoena Drake for a deposition, citing past social media posts where Xxxtentacion suggested if he were killed, Drake did it. Drake's lawyers fought the order, calling it unreasonable and oppressive, and ultimately, no evidence connected Drake to the murder. Angie Stone. In a December 2024 video, the Grammy-nominated soul singer accused Universal Music Group, UMG, of mishandling her royalties for decades. My publishing, pretty much my royalties, my mechanical, they've all pretty much been stolen. Come to find out, Universal Music Group has been receiving all of my royalties, all my mechanicals, all the songs that I've done. I'm only now coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to people that were supposed to do their due diligence. If you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me. I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. It's a long-standing pattern of industry negligence, especially when it comes to black women in soul and R&B. I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made. I don't know what they might do to keep from paying all the money they owe me, okay? It's ridiculous that someone has played with my life and career this long. I mean, have you no conscience? Angie Stone passed away in a tragic car accident on March 1, 2025, at age 63, while traveling with her band from Mobile, Alabama to Atlanta after a performance. Their Mercedes Sprinter van was struck by an 18-wheeler truck near Montgomery, Alabama, causing the van to flip multiple times. Out of 9 passengers, Stone was the only one declared dead at the scene, but several others were injured. Although there is no evidence of foul play, speculations continue to circulate, suspecting her death was a result of her online statements against UMG. Bob Marley. Bob Marley was deeply critical of the systems of control and exploitation within the music industry and the broader social order. Marley's career was shaped by industry attempts to make his music more palatable to Western, especially white, audiences. Chris Blackwell of Island Records admitted to overdubbing Marley's music with white session musicians to appeal to rock fans, with Marley's reluctant cooperation. Marley's commitment to authenticity was unwavering. He insisted on maintaining his message and roots, even as the industry tried to package him for broader appeal. Many of Marley's songs, such as Get Up, Stand Up and Rebel Music, directly criticized poverty, political corruption, and the way authorities, including those in the industry, tried to suppress voices of resistance. On December 3, 1976, Marley survived an assassination attempt at his Kingston home. 7 armed men, allegedly with political motives, shot Marley, his wife Rita, and others. All survived. In July 1977, Marley was diagnosed with acral lentiginous melanoma, a rare and aggressive skin cancer, after a dark spot appeared under his toenail. Initially thought to be a soccer injury, it was later biopsied and confirmed as cancer. The cancer metastasized to his brain, lungs, and liver. Marley died on May 11, 1981 in Miami at age 36. Some believe Marley's political influence and outspokenness made him a target for the CIA, which had a history of involvement in Jamaican politics during the Cold War. Theories suggest the CIA saw Marley as a threat to US interests due to his perceived alignment with socialist-leaning Prime Minister Michael Manley. One story claims a CIA agent, Bill Oxley, gave Marley a pair of shoes with a copper wire or nail tainted with cancer-causing agents causing the melanoma. This story is based on a deathbed confession, but no official public record of this agent currently exists. Pimp C. Pimp C warned that 2 companies controlled most radio stations and their playlists, making it nearly impossible for an independent artist to get on the radio anymore. He noted that in the past, local DJs could break records, but now, everywhere you go, you hear the same record playing and they make them play it all day long. Radio has been killed. Every playlist is the same all over the country. The independent dudes don't never get no play no more. He compared this radio monopoly to how major labels now control streaming playlists, locking out independent artists and prioritizing those whose masters they own. Pimp C criticized the industry for releasing trash albums and said that when music isn't good, people won't buy it, they'll just download or bootleg it. The songs aren't that good, the album's not that good. If it is a good song, and it's only one, we just get on the internet and download it. After signing with Jive Records at 18, Pimp C saw his creative vision for UGK's debut album Too Hard to Swallow compromised. Pimp's attention to detail became too much for Jive, who finished it without him. The result sounds rudimentary. Pimp later dismissed it as garbage. Pimp C often called out the industry for ignoring or exploiting Southern artists, demanding credit for their influence and innovation. December 4th, 2007, at the Mondrian Hotel in West Hollywood, California, Pimp C passed away. The coroner noted elevated but not overdose-level codeine levels. There was also mention of other unestablished factors. Multiple witnesses, including Pimp C's cousin Edgar and manager Rick Martin, described finding blood all over the bed and room, much more than would be expected from an accidental overdose. Edgar claims to have heard from a reliable source that 2 men and a woman were in the room with Pimp C the night he died. One man allegedly said he would play a prank and put something in Pimp C's drink. After drinking, Pimp C immediately began vomiting blood. which Edgar says matches the scene he witnessed. Family and some friends argue the coroner only tested for drugs, not for other poisons, and that the official story was accepted too quickly. Some in the hip-hop community and online speculate Pimp C was sacrificed for exposing industry secrets or because of conflicts with powerful figures. Marilyn Monroe. Monroe famously said, "Hollywood is a place where they'll pay you $1,000 for a kiss and 50 cents for your soul. I know because I turned down the first offer often enough and held out for the 50 cents. This quote, often cited in interviews and published collections, highlights her awareness of how the industry values superficiality and profit over personal integrity and artistic substance. An actress is not a machine, but they treat you like a machine, a money machine. This statement, from her last interview in August 1962, directly critiques the way studios, and by extension the entertainment industry, exploit artists for profit, reducing them to commodities rather than respecting their humanity and talent. That's the trouble, a sex symbol becomes a thing. But if I'm going to be a symbol of something, I'd rather it be sex than some of the things we've got symbols of. I just hate to be a thing. Please don't make me a joke. End the interview with what I believe. I don't mind making jokes, but I don't want to look like one. I want to be an artist, an actress with integrity. I am not interested in money. I just want to be wonderful. Only the public can make a star. It's the studios who try to make a system out of it. If fame goes by so long, I've had you, fame. If it goes by, I've always known it was fickle. So at least it's something I experienced, but that's not where I live. August 5th, 1962. Marilyn Monroe passed away. The documented cause, barbiturate overdose. Found nude, face down in bed, clutching a telephone receiver. Empty pill bottles were beside her bed. Dr. Thomas Noguchi, who performed the autopsy, later expressed doubts. No visual evidence of pills was found in Monroe's stomach or intestines, which was odd given the amount she supposedly ingested. Housekeeper Eunice Murray's statements about the night changed over time, fueling suspicion. Monroe's psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson, was called before authorities, and both he and her physician, Dr. Hyman Engelberg, were present before police were notified, raising questions about the delay and possible scene tampering. Officially ruled a probable suicide, but rumours of dirty work persist due to her connections with powerful figures and her outspokenness. These artists were not only famous for their talent, but also for challenging the status quo, whether it was fighting for creative control, exposing financial exploitation, or speaking out against political and social injustices. Their controversial deaths, often occurring at the height of their activism or independence, continue to inspire theories and discussions about the dangers of confronting powerful interests in the entertainment industry.
Xxxtentacion.